Hi folks, Max from HighOnAndroid.com, where we get high on Android every day. Anyway, I've got the GT-i9500 on my left and the Sprint Galaxy S4 on my right. I'm going to show you some graphics tests. Yesterday we did a quick quadrant or Antutu test. Quadrant test, it was about even. Antutu, the GT-i9500 won by almost 25% for the graphics part. Let's do 3DMark real quick on both of these phones, and I'm going to go ahead and run the Ice Storm Extreme, which is the extreme version of the graphics. This will be testing the graphics power capabilities between these two phones. And we're on our way, and you can see that the GT-i9500 is winning here. And my dog keeps barking at me. And we can see that the GT-i9500 has a slight lead. And there we go. And let me turn this down a little bit. And there we go. And both on its way. And let me go ahead and zoom in a little bit so you can see the frames per second. Can you see it? There we go. And right now, actually, the Qualcomm is winning. Yeah, Qualcomm is winning in the frames per second area. Now the GT-i9500 it was winning a little bit, so they're about the same about now. So we'll have complete results at the end of this, and this is kind of long, but I just want to leave it. I know some of you want to actually go through the whole benchmark, and you know what? I'll just shut up and let you watch this, and you can skip it. I'll have you know, timeline in my description if you want to skip this. Now at this point, the Qualcomm actually has more frames, which means it went through more frames, processed more frames. And it's interesting that the GT-i9500 is actually ahead, slightly ahead, yet the Qualcomm is processing more frames. So there we go. And they're about the same. I mean, they finished up the same. The bottom line, both of these processors are very, very fast. You know, you're not going to see that much difference unless you're, you know, you're a hardcore gamer. Maybe that might make a tiny difference, but I really don't see a huge difference. The only thing I can see, the octa-core does have, you know, full 8 cores, which means while the high performance cores are running, the low performance cores will be resting, so the CPU, it won't heat as much. And so while switching, in the long term, the octa-core may do a lot better job if you're, you know, playing games for hours and hours. That's the only advantage I see with the octa-core. And here now it's the Qualcomm is actually going faster. Very interesting. And here is very, very interesting. Qualcomm is really ahead here. And there we go. All right, we're almost done here, folks. What happened? Uh-oh. Oh, it went off by itself. Ah. All right, there we go. So 6759 versus 6621. So nearly identical in 3DMark results. Let's look at these other numbers here. You can see that iStorm score a little bit higher on the Qualcomm, graphics score a little bit higher on the Qualcomm, physics score it's a little bit higher on the octa-core, frames per second 34.3 versus 30.4, graphics test 1. So in the first test the octa-core wins by 4 frames per second, but on the second test the Qualcomm wins by 2.8 frames per second. And for the physics test, the octa-core wins with 41 frames per second, about 3 frames higher than the Qualcomm there. Demo, so that's about it, and pretty darn same results. Next, go ahead and let's run one more graphics test, since every benchmarking test will be geared towards another one. So Vellamo test, this one's actually I believe by Qualcomm. So let's go ahead and do a test here, and we'll do a metal test. I believe this is more of a graphics test, and there we go. So now we're doing a Vellamo test, and you will be able to see the results here. And I will shut up again, and if you want to skip to the results, you can look in the description for the timeline. So you can see here the i9500 is having a slight edge in 1033, all right, versus 841. So in this test, Vellamo wins. So depending on the test, either can win, but so far actually the GT-i9500 won more tests, like quadrant. About the same for quadrants, and 2-2 the GT-i9500 won. 3DMark, I would say they were about even, and this one also Vellamo won. So I mean, their bottom line is that they're just the same. These are high-end graphics, GPU and high-end CPU. You can't go wrong with either of these. So there you have it, and if you like this video, as always, please hit that like button for me here, subscribe button down there, and share this with your friends on Twitter, Facebook, or Google+. And yeah, that's about it, and I'll see you guys soon. Stay high on Android.